time I come in to get you in the goddamn refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Morning Dinner Podcast. It's your boy, Keem.
And Chuck, what up?
And we host the Morning Dinner Podcast, which is a podcast based out of Las Vegas where we sit down and have interviews and conversations with entrepreneurs, creatives, and hustlers. And today we have Francisco Joel Hernandez in the house. What up, man?
Hi, guys.
How you doing?
Good.
You flew into Vegas last night, huh?
Yeah.
How was your day today?
It was long. We shot a lot today. There was an event today.
We were talking off the podcast. You went out to Nelson to shoot was that like a photo walk or what was that?
It was they call it the Epic Photo Shoot 2019, whatever the year is.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And this one organizer by the name of Robert Swap, he organized this whole big shootout thing where there's a lot of models and there's food as well, and there's a lot of photographers and a lot of equipment that you could just kind of use throughout the day to shoot and take portraits. And it actually started at 8 in the morning. I didn't go that early, but it was 8 in the morning. It ended at 6. So I got there later and left earlier because it was cold.
And you got to Vegas in the perfect time, though, I would say, because
yeah, it's actually really nice.
The past couple of weeks has been, well, I don't know if you've known, it's been snowing out here.
Yeah, I saw that just because it made the news because it never snows here or something.
It never
snows.
I think the last time that it snowed in Las Vegas, I must have been maybe 7 or 8 years old. So that must have been 20 years ago.
Oh, nostalgic.
And I mean, that's when it snowed, maybe more
fully Vegas,
more
snow.
than half an inch of snow. You know what I mean? Yeah, because usually you'll see it coming, but it'll disappear by the time it hits the ground.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
They'll have it, and it'll only be one side of town, either all the way in the north or all the way in the south.
Okay.
So having this,
yeah.
Cool.
At the shoot today, they said that last year because I think they started it last year. That the weather was a little bit cold and it was a little gloomy. I wasn't there to attend it, so I don't know. So we got good sunlight and it was good for the photos today.
I had to work, unfortunately, today, so I was sitting from my office and just watching all the good sunlight, man. It's really good weather outside today compared to what we had. Really good. But before we get carried away, you want to kind of let people know who you are and what you do real quick?
Sure, of course. My name is Francisco Joel Hernandez. I mean, that's how I would say it in Texas. But I'm a portrait photographer based in South Texas. That's 4 hours south of San Antonio, South Texas. And I specialize in using off-camera flash for my portraiture. So I there's a lot of people that shoot with natural light. That's the existing light that's out there without any sort of extra lighting. But I've always been attracted to using off-camera flash because you just have so much control. And when I started using it a couple years ago, I want to say maybe 5 years ago now, actually a little bit more than that, but I've been dedicating at least the last 5 years of my life to using off-camera flash and knowing as much as I can. And it is a struggle. So, through all my struggle, I tried to learn as much as I can. And now I just share as much as I can because I've gotten to know off-camera flash very good. We're good friends now.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share as much as I can. So I've dedicated my YouTube channel, FJH Photo, to sharing as much as the process with off-camera flash, taking off-camera flash and using it for portrait work. And I also have an Instagram account, FJH Photo again, and that's pretty much dedicated to just sharing the process. And I try as much as I can to make every single post educational, so that people can learn at least a little bit about off-camera flash and portrait photography in every single post.
That's really dope, man.
Yeah, super dope.
One of the things that I notice is you do a lot of educational stuff, whether it's on your YouTube or your Instagram. And it's different from a lot of the stuff that I've seen because a lot of people will just post their photo and not really show the process behind it.
Yeah.
do you feel like that's something that people kind of do you think there's a lot of people who just kind of like to hide their technique, their style, because that's them and they're maybe afraid of competition? What do you think it is?
I definitely agree with that, and I think it's funny because that hiding process, that part where they don't want to reveal the secret, it's evolved in a bit, and I'll elaborate that in a second. Where previous to the last couple of years, people wouldn't want to share how they took a photo; they'll just post a photo. And I've been I'm very confident in saying this because I've followed a lot of photographers, so many photographers that use off-camera flash since 2011. I've had a good eye on a lot of different things going on in photo industry, and I would see a lot of people posting photos of off-camera flash and kind of just not sharing how they took it, or other stuff that might be a mystery to people who don't know it at all. Mm-hmm. And over time, when I've gotten a good understanding of how the picture was taken, I kind of either incorporated it into my work and shared that, or what I've been seeing in recent years is that behind the scenes content is kind of getting popular. When I started to share my stuff, it was just because I wanted to share with people to learn the process.
Right.
But what I've seen in the recent year and a half maybe is that people will share BTS now, but then there's a lot of heavy editing as well going on. So that's just another, like an extra step, and they don't share any of that at all. And maybe they'll make like a paid tutorial.
Right.
So to kind
join
of
my Patreon.
Yeah, join my Patreon and you'll see all the editing secrets. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm a little mixed up about that because I do get it. Like, if you worked hard to create your own style, you definitely want to kind of like collect your, you don't want to just give it away. But at the same time, I feel like with somebody like you, or even like Jeff from Ready Light Media, he's a Posse Buff ambassador. Like, you guys post all your secrets, and I feel like that breaks that wall of like, oh, that's just a photographer. Now you're like, now you taught me something. Now you're like a mentor, and that kind of adds more value to to why I follow you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like, I see nothing wrong with like selling tutorials. I just wish that there was a little bit more transparency, I guess, because sometimes I'll see a post, and sometimes somebody will share a behind the scenes photo, and it won't have like all that extra color grading or that extra editing on the model. Yeah. And then you'll see, so the behind the scenes, in other words, doesn't match that final result that they're sharing. So then I'm like, but they're not saying anything about, it's these people that don't sell tutorials. So I'm like, I want at least a little bit more transparency within these people, so that the people that are seeing the behind the scenes photo and seeing that result don't think that it's just the lighting that's getting that final result, because it's, I try to analyze every single photo that I see that I really like, and sometimes I'm like, okay, that's a good hour of editing right there. Yeah. So I wish some people would see, at least be more transparent with that, because there's always going to be those newcomers into the field that they see that I took for example, like me, they see that I took a picture with this certain light and think that light is what made that photo, when it could be the lighting, the condition, that model, their expression, the modifier, just different things that are that are contributing to that final result. Right. So what I've been trying to push for myself, and what I'm going to continue to push myself this year, is to kind of just break down that transparency as much as I can, as well as share a couple. I have a couple of things that I want to create that's going to help even further break down like the process and help others see exactly how a photo was taken. That's
dope. Nice. Yeah, like so is your YouTube channel the reason why, like, is that why you started a YouTube channel, so that you can go further in depth with explaining how you did something? Yeah,
definitely. When I started to take pictures with lighting, I got my first lighting kit, which was Posse Buff lights in 2011 towards the end. I got really obsessed with lighting because I loved the look. And over the course of a couple of years, I had my trial and error, and like I would take photos. I would do a shoot. Sometimes I would get a shot that I liked, and I was at that point where I wasn't understanding why that I liked that photo. And then over the course, like when I graduated 2013, 2014, the end of 2013, sometimes in 2014, I got into the point where I was understanding what I was liking. And it was every single point that I was kind of having a eureka moment with off-camera flash since 2011, since I got my lighting. Every time that I had that knowledge base were engraved in me, where, okay, I know this is why this is happening, I would try to share that as much as I can. And when I would share in like Facebook groups dedicated to showing lighting, I would get asked questions on, like, whenever I would make a post. And over the course of like those years, people would ask me questions, and they would send me messages, and I would directly help them. I would say, this is why this worked. This is why this didn't work, just because of that trial and error that I was learning with. So over the course of those years, when I eventually did make my channel, which was, I think, in 2016, I think September or something, August or September.
I can confirm
that. I made that channel specifically because people were asking me a lot of questions, and it was getting like overwhelming. Nice. So I made that channel so that I can direct these people asking these questions. Like, oh, I made this video because, I got those questions, and it should help you. I hope it helps you. And then they see it and they're like, yeah, that answered all my questions. Or for the most part, that's what they say. But then if they ask more questions, then I'm like, okay, ask me and I'll answer as much as I can.
So is it something that you just like wanted to do? Just wanted to help people and like get people
that's going? The thing that a lot of people don't really realize with my my content and everything that I do. It's simply because I just wanted to help people. I had so much struggle and nights of like just feeling like I wanted to quit. So I just tried as much as I could to learn the off-camera flash, because it's still to this day. Today I answered about like 30 messages from people asking me about different things related to off-camera flash, and this is a daily thing.
Yeah.
So you know, it gives me that motivation to kind of make more content on YouTube. I feel like I'm still like not making as much content as I want to, but I started strictly to help people out. I don't know if it's like a psychological thing. Like back then, I wish somebody would help me, and I never got that help.
Because it's usually it's like one or the other. It's like, okay, I'm either gonna help as many people so they don't go through the same situation I did, or I'm gonna keep all the knowledge to myself. More secretive. But that's fine. You had that because it pays back for sure. You know what I mean? People love that.
It has, yeah. Even to this day, from just doing this podcast, everything that I've done since I've shared with people the knowledge of, you know, what I can do and what off-camera flash can do, actually, it's just been nothing but benefits left and right. And I love that, because I just did it just to help people, and it's been nothing but beneficial.
Right. And I think having like a podcast episode with you is dope, because you, like you mentioned, right now you get 30, I'm sure you get tons of messages every day on questions. You know what I mean? Like you having your own YouTube channel, people will be able to find out those answers, like you, without having to ask you directly. Maybe have a video on why this flash is better than that, why you position it this way, how you edit it. That way, those things are already out there, and you don't have to be answering them over and over again.
Yeah.
Or even like this podcast, how, you know, you may answer a question that I may have, and then somebody else might have had the same question. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think when I even talk about the podcast that we're gonna do today, like I'll like just listen to it. There's some stuff that's just you want to know. That's in there. Yeah.
I was gonna ask. So you flew to Vegas for WPPI, right?
Yes.
Which is the I forgot what it stands for.
Wedding and Portrait Photography. Actually, I was trying to answer international. Something international.
Yeah, so it's basically a convention for photographers to come to Vegas and kind of, it's like NAB for photographers, right?
Yeah. Wedding and portrait photographers just unite.
Nice. I gotta ask, what's in your camera bag?
My camera bag. At the moment, I brought with me, I had to bring off camera flash. I had the Godox 8400 Pro, which is known as, Adorama sells it as the Explore 400 Pro. And I brought that light because it's very strong and very portable. It fits in my Peak Design 20L backpack. I brought that. I brought the Godox 8200, also known as the Evolve 200 with the round head. And I brought my A7R3 with the 85 1.8. That's the Sony 85 1.8. It's awesome lens. It's not that expensive either, like $550. Mm-hmm. And I brought a A7R3 with the Samyang 35 1.4. I've been trying to shoot a little bit wider, just because it's a different look, and it's not that bad of a look either.
How do you usually shoot? Like what's your go-to prime lens for portraits?
Definitely 85 millimeter. I've been shooting ever since I've switched to full frame Sony, which was like 2017, the beginning of or something. Yeah. I've been loving the 85 millimeter focal length.
Solid
That's
lens.
exactly when I switched to Sony too. Wasn't it 20? No, we switched in 2016.
Yeah, I can't even remember.
I can't remember.
You heard about the 135?
Yo.
Yeah.
That's a crazy lens. I was like, whoa. That was crazy.
Full frame.
When I shot with Canon previous to Sony, the Canon 135L was like my favorite lens. I still love it.
And it's a 1.8.
Yeah. Well, no. That was the Canon 135L f2.
I mean like the one that's coming out. The Sony,
he's talking
Sony 135 is going to be a
1.8.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
It's a little pricey. But
was it 1300?
19.
No, bro.
Yeah,
19.
It couldn't have been
1900.
I could have sworn I looked it up before this podcast started.
It's engraved in my brain. 1900.
I swear to God, I read 1399.
Yeah,
so somebody must have messed it up on.
I wish.
I think I read it on F-stoppers or Petapixel.
See, they make typos too. They're human.
Damn, I got so high, bro. Like 1399. Yes.
Like, that ain't
I mean, that would be a great price, but no.
I'd get 2 of them. That's dope, man. Wait, so are you doing anything special out here for WPPI, or are you just kind of like enjoying the show?
This year, I wanted to just relax a bit. So this event that happened today, the Epic Photo Shoot 2019, that was going to be like my main source of like my release of photo shoots.
Right.
Yeah. So like it was good because I didn't have to think or organize anything. I just went in there. There was a lot of models and I just shot pretty much. So I had fun. I took a lot of awesome shots and I took BTS photos as well. So I can't wait to share that this week, later this week. Cause like, I shot with the Sigma Art 105 1.4.
Ooh.
I have that. I own that lens, but it's heavy. So I didn't bring it. But somebody else brought it.
Is that a Sony mount?
Yeah. It's the Sigma Art FE mount. So it's basically like it's the Sony mount, but they have like a built-in adapter.
Okay, cause I was gonna. That was one of the questions I did have. And I'm gonna sound ignorant, bro, because
no, that's fine.
So
Me too, though,
FE mount and E mount. We always ask ourselves this question. FE mount is full frame.
Full frame mount,
right? And the E mount is the crop sensor.
Not necessarily. There could be an E mount that works on full frame. But for some reason, they have like a brand like full frame lenses that they just decided to call FE.
Oh, so is that? Do you think it could be something with the autofocus speed or something?
Well, yeah, they have like the G Master, which is like their top of the line lenses, and then they have 24-70. Yeah, and then they have their G. And then I think, you know what? I could be wrong.
Well, because
I could be wrong too. So we're both ignorant here.
I have a 35 1.8, which is the optically stabilized one.
Yeah.
But I think it's only for crop sensor because I throw it on my A65 and it looks good. Yeah. But then I throw it on my full frame, my A7R2, and you can see the vignette around the corners.
Okay.
Yeah, so
all right. So people who are watching, excuse my ignorance, but let's just assume that FE is full frame E mount for now.
So doing mostly like educational content on your YouTube channel, your Instagram, I gotta ask you, how did you first educate yourself?
Okay.
And at what point did you realize you could start educating other people?
So I would definitely I always want to have like a root answer. And I can definitely attribute my whole obsession with off-camera flash to a photographer by the name of Joey L. He was based in New York. I think he lives there, but he just travels so much.
Truth, bro.
He's amazing.
He's the reason I bought the Pulsey Buff lights.
Same here.
Yeah. So you watch his video too?
Oh man, he's just like Joey. You're hearing this, but he's amazing, man.
Yeah, he's dope.
I met him recently at this recent Photo Plus, I believe.
Oh, nice.
I think maybe this recent one, maybe it was the year before, but it was a great experience. Definitely a down-to-earth, cool guy. But I've actually come across his work because he's one of the first photographers that I discovered that was sharing at least a little bit of how they took a photo. Like, I think I distinctly remember seeing like BTS photos. So I was like interested in that. And I was saying, okay, lighting. I need lighting because this is what's creating this look. I've gotten to the point now where I can understand how I can take photos that I like with natural light, but it requires post-processing. Mm-hmm. But back then I knew very little. So I guess I went the right route with lighting. But my obsession, what was the question? My obsession with helping others?
No, how did you first educate yourself to learn what you know now?
Oh, okay.
And
when did you build the confidence?
Yeah, and when did you build the confidence to be
I'm not going to lie. There was times where I was sharing stuff and it wasn't like the most best advice to give because I thought it was. So so I wasn't wrong.
We all do it.
Yeah, it was just.
He's like, but I'm sorry.
I probably still do it.
But I learned. I think I learned over the course of like not to share anything unless I absolutely know for the answer. So I guess that little bit of trial and error there. I wasn't doing that for years or anything.
Yeah.
But like I tried my best to, if I don't know an answer, just go ahead and research it and don't be afraid to say I don't know, because I rather would tell people I don't know than rather give them false information. Mm-hmm. And then they, that's basically bad advice. And I don't want to hinder anybody's performance.
Right.
So I think over the course of just kind of reading as much as I could on either Petapixel, on f-stoppers, reading the strobist.com blog site. David Hobby, I think his name is.
Yeah.
But just reading as much as I can and just learning from these different sites. There's actually one website that not a lot of people know about called strobox.com, STROBOX.com. And it's all nothing but diagrams and showing the results in the diagram. Either like just like an artificial diagram, the light's here, sun's here, or an actual behind the scenes photo. Mm-hmm. And that's been going on for like, I want to say at least 2013. But I guess from just researching as much as I can, just as much as I could, from just being as passionate as I could, because I wanted to learn different things. And once I learned them, mm-hmm. and I learned them good, that's when I started to feel comfortable with sharing with others. And there's actually a technique called the Brenner. I don't know if you guys know the Brenner effect.
What's all that?
It also goes by the name of bokeh panorama. Basically, it's like you shoot with a telephoto lens with a wide aperture. Let's say the Sigma Art 105 1.4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you take a lot of different shots. But if I was to take a picture of maybe like of you, in a field. And since that lens is kind of like zoomed in, right?
Yeah.
You take a lot of pictures. Make sure that you lock in the focus and don't, adjust it.
Oh, okay.
And then take pictures and just take pictures like of all the subject in the surrounding area.
You could do that.
And then you combine them. And basically the whole point of that is that you get an extra super shallow depth of field. And there's actually a depth of field calculator that you can look up online, where it'll tell you basically, it'll be like, oh, that 105, 1.4, all those shots that you combine together, that's basically like a 50 millimeter f0.7 or something like that.
Whoa, my mind is blown right now.
Yeah,
bro, that's some nerdy
crazy
stuff right there.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Wait, so Lightroom then stitches it together? You got to do it in Photoshop?
You can do it. The best thing to do is to process the shots in Lightroom so that there's no vignetting, because there's always going to be a little bit vignetting around the edges. And then you don't want them to be super large files, because that'll make heavy editing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So don't shoot on an A7R II.
Yeah, no, 42 megapixels. You have like a 10 gigabyte file or something larger.
Use like an A7S II.
Yeah.
I just turned the megabytes down, bro.
The A6000.
That's true how you can do that on Sony.
Yeah.
I love Sony, bro. You could do so much with those cameras.
Shout out to Sony.
Yeah. I was coming from Canon for the longest time, and I didn't want to switch.
Yeah.
I was so I had all my lenses were Canon, all my bodies were Canon, but then it just came to the point where I was like, I need more.
Yeah.
And especially when I started realizing I was gonna do photography, because before I was just primarily doing video, and really for video, I guess there was the A7S too. But I wanted to upgrade for the photo capabilities of the 42 megapixels and everything else that the A7R II has.
You want the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
42 megapixels.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Do you think 42 megapixels is overkill?
It's subjective. I don't even need 42 megapixels, but I want it.
Yeah.
So it's not overkill because I want it.
It's like I'm for sure not shooting to print into like a building size.
Me neither.
But no, it's funny.
But one day I might.
Because a lot of those prints and stuff you see on buildings, the resolution isn't that high.
Yeah.
Because when I do marquees for huge 3-story marquees, like the video, they say send like a 800 by 600 video. I'm like, isn't it gonna be blurry? And they're like, no.
Nah.
Like, you got to think about people are watching it from like a mile away.
Yeah, driving. Wow.
Yeah,
it tripped me out when I found that out. Like when I do billboards, they're really tiny. Like they're not that big. They're like 500 by 800.
Like, do you want an 8K file? Nah, 800 by 600.
I'm like, whoa, that's so weird.
Wow,
interesting.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, there's so much.
We're all learning.
I just learned something right now.
I want to try that. Yeah. So is there a way do you have a tutorial?
I don't have one, but I can recommend a tutorial by my friend Robert Hall. He does a lot of educational content on photography.
Robert Hall, that sounds very familiar.
Yeah, he's a white guy, bald with a beard. You might have seen tutorials of him.
I'm pretty sure I'm subscribed to him.
Yeah, Rob, if you're listening, there's the shout out right there.
Shout out to Robert Hall.
Yeah, he has a great tutorial on it.
I want to ask, do you ever feel, because I all the content on your Instagram and your YouTube channel is mostly educational, right? Do you ever get those you want to do like a creative portrait, like how do you say
like a Superman one or something?
Like a tutorial?
Do you ever want to do anything outside of just not just educational, but maybe something more passion based, where it's like I shouldn't say passion based, but more like
shoot a model randomly somewhere.
Like gel stuff, or like do challenge or things like that. Is that something that could ever come to your channel?
For sure. Yeah. I think if I were to just do nothing but travel and do a lot of collaborations with different photographers, that would kind of force me to do more stuff outside of my realm, I guess.
Yeah.
But I love challenging myself. I just don't really challenge myself. And I have explanation for that, because some people do tell me don't you get bored with your style of work? And I'm torn, because it took me years to develop that style, like literal years. I want to say 5+.
Right.
And then there was a lot of years where I wasn't loving my own work. I was taking the photos and I was aiming for what I thought would be good photos that the client would like, but I wasn't liking it. And it took me forever to develop a style that I liked. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a bittersweet feeling in that I like my work, but I do want to progress and learn more. But at the same time, there's always going to be that 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 scare, that fright of just kind of venturing into the unknown and struggling. And I don't know if it's psychological again.
That's my life every day.
Yeah. But like I struggled forever. So I don't like it. Like I do want to venture into more. That's why I have that Samyang 35 1.4. It's like a budget 35 1.4.
Yeah.
But it works amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got that specifically because I wanted to shoot more wide work. And then I also want to eventually get like shooting into like ultra wide, like 16 millimeter. But I do want to kind of make those looks into my own style. So I want to kind of keep my style, but just delve into different kind of focal lengths. And also, again, like kind of challenge myself eventually this year, adding more gels to my work, adding a lot of studio work to my portfolio, because I do a lot of outdoor on location work. And a lot of people are like, well, what about the studio? Why don't you like the studio? And I just like on location because it's, I don't know, it's easy to just see everything and take advantage of it.
See, and I'm a little bit opposite because I do mostly studio. I do everything. And it comes from a part of like not being lazy, but it's like, to carry around
that's lazy, bro.
No, but I'm saying like so I use Policy Buff.
Policy Buffs.
I got Policy Buff equipment.
Is that why you have to go down?
Yes.
I guess we're gonna hit this topic.
Yeah. we're here right now.
So I got the Einsteins, you know what I mean, and
the Vagabonds.
They're so for portability, they're kind of fragile. And also, it's just, I don't know, man. Even with the modifiers that I have, it's pretty heavy stuff.
See, I had those lights, so I can definitely tell you from experience. Like I've had like I was telling you, there's a lot of trial and error that I had with my work, and I can break down the different years and what I've learned in those years. The first thing I learned was, okay, Policy Buff, no. That's what I learned slowly, because I got them in 2011, the end of 2011, and it wasn't until I believe 2014 that I got another strobe. Yeah. So that was like a whole 3 years of like, okay, I'm gonna try these Policy Buffs, see what I like, what I don't like, and then eventually I learned, okay, no, don't do.
Yeah, but you had the Alien Bees though, right?
Yeah, I had. Okay. I actually got too many lights. I started. Oh damn! I shoot with one light right now, and I shot with one light for years. But when I got the lights in 2011, I got 4. I got. Oh wow! I got 2 Alien B 800s.
Overkill.
Alien B, damn. Alien B 400, and then I got the Alien B ring light 800. So I got those.
They have a ring light?
Yeah, it's called the ABR 800.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I just overkill.
Well, yeah. Overkill. So the thing is, like, I feel like Policy Buff lights, they have really, really good like color rendition. I love them, bro. I use them in my studio all the time. No complaints as far as in studio. You know what I mean? I even use the light mod gels modifier system, and it's just so easy to use. But yeah, just taking on location sometimes sucks. And then the Vagabond Mini, you got that, and then like I know like my what's it called, the light stand that I have.
The light stand's heavy.
Weighs at least like 35 pounds, bro.
And if you don't have a
what stand is that?
It's a what's it called? Turtle
C stand.
Yeah, it's a black C stand from B&H Photo.
Oh yeah, I think I'm familiar.
I was gonna say turtleneck. It's not turtleneck. turtle base, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I like Policy Buff, but I have been like for the past couple of years just eyeballing the Godox just because of how one cheap they are, and two like what's it called, the AD200s.
There's the AD200s that look like speed lights. Yeah. They're small and powerful.
How bright are those?
Those so the speed lights, like I try to keep the power level in terms of watt seconds, because that's kind of like the most broad term of describing all the different power levels of different lights. So speed lights typically have around 60 to 65 watts of power. And when it comes to the AD200s, they have 200 watts of power, which is about 3 times as much as a single speed light.
Right.
And it has
so they're bright.
And they're also this kind of the same size, a little bit bigger than a speed light. Yeah. But it's 3 times as powerful. So they're powerful and small. So it's like really.
And those
great.
are the ones you shoot with, or what do you shoot with?
I shoot a couple of different lights. Right now, I'm really enjoying the Godox 8400 Pro. It's actually their latest light. But before I got that one, I was shooting with the 8600 Pro. And then before that, I was shooting with the 8200. I can definitely, the thing is, a lot of people always ask me, like, can a single Godox 8200 do a lot? Or could they have taken that photo that I've shared? And a lot of times the answer is yes. But I just tend to like, I kind of have this in the back of my head. It's better to have more and not need it than to have less and need more. So I always get the light with the more power,
right?
And then if I can use it on lower outputs,
that headroom.
Fine. Yeah,
and that's the AD400.
Yeah, the AD400 Pro.
So if I wanted to go ahead and just pick something up real quick right now, like go on Amazon or B&H, whatever, and pick something up that I could just take on location.
Portability.
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
I would say, because you mentioned color accuracy with those Posse Buffs, they're actually really known for that as well. They're great. The one thing I'll say about them is they're great studio lights. Outside, different story. But, but I would say to go ahead and probably get the Godox 8600 Pro.
Okay.
They actually offer a TTL version and a high-speed sync or a non-TTL version. And TTL, for those of you who are listening who don't know what that is, the best way to sum that up is this: basically an auto mode for your light. So you enable TTL and it'll do its best to kind of give you the output that it thinks that you'll need. But when it comes to buying a light that has TTL, there's always going to be what's known as in the photo industry as the TTL tax, because it's gonna make that light that costs to make it like $700 $850, like $150 extra.
Yeah.
And I would say the best thing to just shoot with is always shoot manual for the consistency.
I don't ever shoot to TTL.
TTL always messes me up.
Yeah.
So yes, exactly. It's a beast that has to be tamed, because it does work well when you know how to work it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I would say to go ahead and get the Godox 8600 Pro without TTL, which they offer now, but sold by Adorama. I think they're the only ones that carry that light without the TTL.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would definitely suggest that, because it has that really good color accuracy. It's actually better than Pro Photo's color accuracy.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yo, you're about to start a controversy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm dropping facts right now, okay? Dropping facts.
Because Pro Photo's kind of like, they're expensive, man. They're, I was looking at their,
Isn't Pro Photo's like $2,000?
Yeah, for one head. Ooh. Yeah.
And then the remote for the Pro Photo system is $400.
Oh, my.
That's $400.
Shout out to Godox, though.
$400.
So I actually just bought the continuous video lights, the 60 watt ones. Have you heard of those? Like they match the 120D, the aperture. These are all video light ones.
Are these Godox or something else?
Yeah. They're Godox, aren't they?
Yeah, they're Godox.
Godox SLW60.
Yes,
they're really good. I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah, they're really good lights.
They're $150.
They're like, I seen one on 140 right now, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
like, this is they're about to kill the game.
Godox is doing a good job.
Son. For this podcast, we used to have an aperture. What was it?
Right
aperture
there, 120D.
120D.
Yeah.
That we used to hang over.
Oh, it's just there.
Overkill.
Yeah, it's a nice light though.
It's a really nice light. But I mean, if you're getting almost like what, I wouldn't say the same amount of output.
What, 60 watt?
Yeah.
I think they're literally almost the same thing.
And it's 160.
It's almost $500 cheaper
versus spending. Yeah.
If you can get by with less, why not?
Yeah.
And that's crazy, because Aperture's known for like
cheap lighting,
doing like low price, not cheap video. Like as in like quality, but like the pricing is pretty affordable.
Yeah, affordable
you know
pricing. Sorry.
They're known for that,
I have a couple of Aperture lights, and I really enjoy all of them, but they're just a little pricey. They're a bit pricey. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
want to switch that camera angle, bro?
Huh? What?
Camera angle?
Oh, what?
There you go.
Oh, okay.
He's over here switching camera angles.
Yeah,
if you see him fidgeting with the remote, he's got a remote on the table.
Like, why is this guy fidgeting so much?
The only thing I'm worried about with Godox is the customer support. Like, what about that?
See, I could definitely tackle that, because that's actually the thing that a lot of people bring up, and I guess there needs to be more people talking about it, in the sense of, if you actually bought a light from Godox from like Amazon and it was directly from Godox, that would be from them sending it to you from China or wherever they manufacture the lights.
Yeah.
But the thing is, for the last couple of years, specifically with Adorama, which I've actually been working with, they have amazing customer service and amazing support. So I always recommend ordering from Adorama. I think actually B&H picked up at Godox lights for like the last year and a half. Mm-hmm. And there's also like two other US retailers that actually sell it and will either repair the light or have great warranty on it. But I just recommend Adorama, because they just have a lot of great customer service. And also, if the light goes on sale, like you bought it last week and it costs, let's just say a light that you got, it would cost $700, and then it went sale for $600. Within 30 days, you can contact Adorama, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, it went on sale. You bought it within 30 days. Here's a $100 store credit.
Oh, that's tight.
Yeah, so that's really good too. So, but yeah, when it comes to the support, I I will say one case. My friend had a Godox 8600 BM. That's the Godox. That's the Explore 600 manual strobe. He got it more than 2 years ago, and it has 2-year warranty on the light. And the warranties, I think, they depend on light. It's like 1 year, 2 year warranty. But I think that light was 2-year warranty, but it was out of warranty. And he crashed it and it stopped working. It just dropped.
He physically damaged it.
Yeah, he physically damaged it. But he contacted them and they said just send it back to us, and then they sent him a new one.
Ooh,
out of warranty. So
not saying that's gonna happen to everybody. But.
I'm not guaranteeing anybody anything.
No hope on that.
But I'm just saying, like, they have great customer service, and a lot of people do bring up that what happens if my light breaks? What happens? And you know what? The thing is, somebody messaged me a couple of days ago saying, "Oh, I got the Godox 862, which is known as Adorama as the Flashpoint Zoom Lithium Ion TTL Speedlight, which is around $180 or so." She got it from Amazon. And she got it from Godox directly. And when she got the light, I think she said that the bulb or something broke. And I'm not going to say that it was shipped that way. I have no idea. But if she had gotten it like that from Adorama,
it would have gotten
She could have just gotten sent. They might have even sent her the light first and then say, okay, send me the other one.
Yeah.
So, but like I've had that situation before, too. I got in a Godox strobe. It was a studio strobe, thankfully, because I like my outdoor lights. But it was a studio strobe that I was trying out, and then it came with a broken bulb, and it was also a little bit scratched up because I think that bulb, the glass or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, what's up with this light? It came broken. And they're like, oh, okay, we're going to send you another one. And they sent me another one. And then I don't know if I'm supposed to say, but I kept both.
Ah, nice.
They let me keep both.
Allegedly.
He sent it back.
You didn't hear that? I sent it back. I sent it back.
Wait, what about modifiers though? Like, does it come with a good range of modifiers? What kind of mount is the Godox?
So a lot. I think every single Godox, aside from Bowen's. I love Bowen's mount.
They're the best.
Yeah, Bowen's mount is like the most universal and has so many options available.
Yeah.
But I think all of the Godox lights, with the exception of the latest 8400 Pro, come with the Bowen's mount. But that the 8400 Pro actually comes with that Bowen's mount. You just need to attach it.
Like an adapter.
Yeah, it comes with that adapter. Yeah, so I have mine with my adapter on there all the time. But there's so many options. Actually, Adorama within the past year, single year, they created what they call the Glow line, which is their brand of modifiers that are, for one, affordable, and two, they work really well. And my favorite modifier at this moment is the 34-inch beauty dish with the white interior. And I use that. I have been using that for I think already 6 months, maybe 5 months. And you can go to my Instagram at FJH Photo, and you guys can check out the photos from the past 6 months that I've used that modifier, and it's working so well. And I want to say it costs $79, maybe $69, and it's
super affordable.
It's super affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, Westcott, they're a really great product, but that same modifier might cost like $400, $500.
Yeah, no, easily. I mean, if you're talking about Westcott, Broncolor, we're talking about those kind of modifiers, bro.
Broncolor.
We're talking money.
Yeah, mortgage. We're talking for Broncolor.
You're not doing it as a hobby at that point.
For a tiny softbox, it's like $50,000.
Yeah,
that is one thing that I will say I'm a little bit salty at with Posse Buff is that those modifiers you have to get them from their website. Like, it's their their brand. And every time you order something, you always got to pay shipping. Now, here's the thing. I love Posse Buff and I love their customer service because they've always hooked it up. They've always helped me out. They're very easy to communicate with.
You're trying to get that sponsor.
If you out there, I'm sticking my neck out for you guys. No, but they're dope. But yeah, that one thing I do wish I could just go on Amazon sometimes instead of ordering something and then having to wait 2 weeks for it to get in.
I mean, I do want to call people out in the sense of come on, bro. It's been this long and you didn't do this. In other words, one thing with Posse Buff is I think in the past, I want to say literally the past 1 or 2 months, they barely added international shipping.
Yeah, no, they did that. I think maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Okay, within a month, I want to say they barely added that support. Yeah. And it's been, if somebody wanted to order a Posse Buff light that lived in Europe, they would have to do these different ways that people have to do, like get it sent to someone in the U.S. and then they have to send it through this, and then they have to pay like the same price of that light for all these different domestic charges and travels and stuff,
right?
The fees or whatever. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Well, what's up with that? Like, can't they just put their stuff on Amazon and have Amazon take care of that stuff?
I'm not gonna.
I mean, I've never run my own lighting company.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But I would just imagine, like, I got a homie who sells things on Amazon. Like,
maybe it just doesn't.
I
Maybe they just don't sell enough, and it just doesn't make sense to inventory. I don't know. That's
that
just
he
me
said,
assuming.
not me. But
That's me assuming, because it might be expensive, or they might have like a manufacturer that's not giving.
Well, I mean, they make everything in the U.S.
that's another gripe I have is the high speed sync. Let's talk about high speed sync real quick, because that's one of the reasons I was eyeing the Godox 600. I think it's called the Explorer 600 or something like that.
Explorer.
It had high speed sync capability for the same price as the Einstein. Actually, a little bit more than the Einstein.
I'll go back and forth with you on that.
Because the Einstein's only like. How much is it right now?
$550.
Oh, it's $550?
Yeah. No, I'm gonna say $500.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I bought mine.
It's definitely not cheaper than $500.
Yeah, he just got like. Can I say you got like 3 lights for like $550?
Oh no, I bought 2 of them for my homie though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I ended up getting an Einstein, and then I got a DigiB 1600, I think, and I only paid like I paid him $500.
I want to see that one's 300.
What?
I'm trying to think of the 1600.
Yeah.
The price. I want to see it's 300 because I think the 400 is like 229. Then the 800 is like 249 or 59.
Yeah.
Like something not too crazy.
Yeah.
So if I had to think about the next step up, it probably would be 300. I mean, this is just guesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got 2 Einsteins and 1 DigiB. 800 and 1600 anyways. But yeah, man, no high speed sync. I'm a little salty.
And then there's going to be people that say, well, it could if you do this and this and this. And in a nutshell, if you have to buy special triggers.
Yeah.
And you have to use the light at full power. And even if you use it at full power to be able to shoot at higher sync speeds, you would still get a bit of a gradient of light that's not registering.
For reals?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
I've gotten that.
Policy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's workarounds.
If you go above 1/60th or 1/200 or something like that, you'll get that curtain.
What's the highest speed?
Oh, real quick, can you explain what high speed sync is?
Yeah. Okay. So, high speed sync. The best way to break it down is, for the longest time, for years and years and years, for like decades, when it comes to the limits of flash, you can only go to a certain speed. That's going to depend on every camera. That you can go to this speed. Let's say, for example, I think a lot of Sony cameras have the limit of 250th.
Oh, 250.
Yeah. They have a certain speed, let's say 250th of a second. Once you go past that speed, the light starts to stop registering. And if you go just past 250th, let's say 1/320th, you'll see like a little bit of a black line starting from the top, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then if you go faster and faster, you'll see that more of that black line is kind of just filling up more of the frame. Yeah. That's because that flash is not being able to register throughout that whole shot, because your shutter is basically blocking that light from coming in. Mm-hmm. So it's going faster and faster and covering more. That shutter's covering more of that image.
Yeah.
And that flash is not able to go through that shutter.
Yeah.
So eventually, when you go faster and faster, you're not gonna have any light registering, and it's gonna be dark because
I've shot at like when I had my 6D, I shot at like 1/1000th.
Yeah.
And half my frame was black.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way a long time ago. I was like a long time ago when I first started shooting. I was
like my camera's broke.
I was at like 320th a second. And I was shooting with the flash. I was like, why is there just black line? I'm like, damn, my mirror broke.
Yeah.
And I was giving up.
You guys didn't have high speed sync. So with high speed sync, you're able to go over that limit. You're able to pass that limit, because the way that high speed sync works is, if you take a picture, it's just one burst of light. That's without high speed sync. It's just a burst of light, and it's just going to go away slowly.
Right.
It's what's called the flash duration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And with high speed sync, it's basically like you try to just think of like a I don't know, a rave, and there's like a strobe going on, like a literal strobe just flashing, flash. Basically, high speed sync is exactly doing just that. It's creating a series of pulses that is just kind of keeping that, all those pulses are the same. So basically what it's doing is it's keeping that burst of light consistent. So you're able to go ahead and just go to any sync speed that you want to, up to even 1/8000th of a second.
And you don't have to do anything except for just use that light that can do the high speed sync.
Yeah.
So cool.
And it sounds like a simple thing now.
Yeah.
But
I used to have like Magic Lantern trying to figure out like what kind of hack can I use?
Yeah.
You remember Magic Lantern?
Yeah,
I know
that.
Magic.
I still have it on my
I took pictures of my voice before, or just
like a voice activated?
Yeah, like just snapping, and then it would take the picture. Magic lantern.
Yeah, Magic Lantern. That's so. You could shoot in RAW.
Yeah.
In Magic Lantern.
Well, I never figured that out, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to have like a high.
I didn't want to burn my camera.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
You could. There was rumors back in the day when Magic Lantern first came out that said that if you don't use it the right way, you could brick your camera.
I bricked my camera, but I fixed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because
I was thinking that you could unbrick it, right?
Yeah, I did something, and like while it was like updating, I think I like pulled the cord out by accident.
Yeah, that's gonna brick
and
it.
And it bricked it, and I was like, oh fuck.
Especially during updating.
Yeah, I was like, oops.
You basically just threw it in the pool and it fixed the problem.
Oh wow.
So if you guys ever brick your camera, just throw it in the pool and. I'm just kidding.
Somebody's doing that out there.
To go a little bit more about the high-speed sync real quick.
Yeah.
I do say that, right, like in the recent years, it's more common knowledge because since 2016, when Godox came out with the Explorer 600, they think the original Godox the Godox 8600B, which is their Bowens mount TTL version of that strobe, but then they also had a manual version without TTL. But that singular strobe, I attribute it to so much. Like if you go right now on Google and put like Explorer 600. More than likely, like one of my blog posts, I don't even do a lot of blog posts on my website, but that blog post got me so much traffic because I was like, this light is the bomb. You guys need to get this light because of this, and this. I wrote a whole blog post because I was so like, I love that strobe still to this day. I highly recommend that strobe because it had high speed sync. It had 600 watts of power. It has a lot of battery life. It has accessory options. I can go on and on about that strobe, and I do in that blog post.
Getting sponsored by
But I had trial and error since Posse buffed, like trying to figure out a look. And when I discovered like what look I liked, then I had like I did searching.
Yeah.
And when that strobe, it was like finally eureka! This light has everything that I want. So with the Posse buff lights, they had cords and they didn't have high speed sync.
Yeah.
And the way that I got around that was I was using ND filters and trying to act like cords don't annoy me.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, I get. Okay.
Yeah,
I get it now.
So yeah. So basically, with high speed sync, what I like is having a shallow depth of field with using that flash in a bright sunny day.
Right.
So with high speed sync. Basically, without high speed sync, if I wanted to take a picture in a bright sunny day with a shallow depth of field, because I wouldn't have that option of going at a higher shutter speed to kind of bring down that ambient light, I'd have to either lower the ISO, which is only going to go to ISO 100, or maybe ISO 50. But the other way to do that would be to narrow down that f-stop to like maybe f16, f22. But if I wanted that shallow depth of field, literally the only way to do that would be to add ND filters.
Right.
That would cut down that ambient and allow me to shoot at wide apertures.
Right, because you would have to shoot at 1/160th or something like that.
Yeah. So I was using ND filters prior to these other strobes that can shoot at higher sync speeds. But that was with the Posse buff lights that had cords and that I didn't have that. And then I found out eventually there's this other strobe called the Metal 600 AD. And I was like, I found out from a friend from Europe about this light, and I became his friend from Facebook.
I've never heard of that light.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even bother anymore. It's not a good strobe anymore. But at the time, it allowed me to go at faster sync speeds without, and that was a time even before high speed sync. High speed sync now is a bit of a common knowledge thing, or at least a trend that people know about. But back then, that strobe allowed me to shoot at any sync speeds without ND filters. I was just like, okay, what the heck? How am I able to do this? And I was able to do it through like, the quick summary of it is that my triggers allowed this light to, because of the flash duration, which is like, it pops and then it kind of just dissolves, basically like, I don't know, anything that does that. Yeah. But, it had a slow pop. So it would pop and then it would slowly go away. And because of that slowly going away, it basically, with the triggers that I was using at the time, it allowed me to kind of utilize all that flash at that slow pop, that slow fade away. And it was specifically those triggers having that good timing. And I was able to use them at 1/8,000th of a second, 1/4,000th of a second, high sync speeds.
Wow.
And at the time, that's technically called super sync. Which is,
you don't
even want to bother with, and that's what it was technically called. But you don't want to bother with that anymore. The high speed syncs exist now.
That's a super technical DIY right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much the and I'm not gonna just like say exaggerating. I was like the only one using this super sync method, and I told people about it, and I was explaining it to them. And then eventually, after I got that strobe, I learned another strobe that can do the same thing, super sync. But that first strobe, that Metal 600 AD, it had a nickel battery, so it didn't have a long battery life. And then it also, in order to adjust the power, you had to actually go to that strobe, bring it down, adjust the knob, bring it back up. And if I took another shot and I think it needed more power, go bring it down. Yeah, so that was the strobe after the Pulse buff. Then there was another strobe called the Rove Light 600B. And that strobe allowed me to change the power through a remote, but it had a power limitation of only being used at full power to 1/16th power. So if I wanted to go lower than that, then I wouldn't be able to go to that.
Oh, okay.
So there was
limitations.
Yeah, that strobe that had a shitty battery. That metal 600 AD had a bad battery.
There was a compromise everywhere you went.
Yeah, and I couldn't see the power level.
Yeah.
And then the Rove Light 600B, better battery life, but I had that power limitation, and I couldn't see the power level on the remote. And then immediately the strobe after that, which was the Explorer 600, I could see the power level on the remote. I could adjust the power to any power from full power to 1/256, which is super low. Mm-hmm. It had a good modeling lamp. It had high speed sync, like actual high speed sync. Those two strobes before it didn't have high speed sync. They had super sync, and there was these limitations as well that I can go on about. But with that Explorer 600, I was like, this is the light that I've been wanting for years.
Yeah, that's when Godox came in and the game. They just everybody I know, it's on YouTube, man. It's killing it with Godox equipment.
Yeah,
I was worried because there's two brands, right? Like there's a Godox and then there's like a knockoff of Godox, but it's still the same company. Kind of like how there's like Rokinon and Samyang. Like they're the same, essentially the same manufacturer, but they label the name it differently. I can't remember.
Because right now Godox actually has. Like, since they're worldwide at this point, even back in 2016 when I first learned about the Explorer 600, at that time I knew of at least 6 to 7, maybe even 8 other names that the light was going by.
Yeah,
because it was world-round. Basically, a lot of companies throughout the world would want to acquire the rights to sell that light under their own brand.
Right.
So they would rename the light City Pro, Pixa Pro, Atlas 600. Just like there's a lot of different names for that same exact strobe.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious.
That's probably what it was.
The case, because if it's the exact same strobe, then it might be that case. Because
So is it basically like a bunch of companies that are fighting for the patent over it, or
not necessarily the patent, but just they want to kind of just distinguish themselves.
Damn, it's like a white label.
Yeah,
like drop shipping.
Yeah, like specifically with Adorama, and it sucks because I wish they had just kept the same name.
Yeah, but
I guess because they wanted to kind of establish that, hey, if you buy the light under this name, you're buying it from us in the U.S., which I can respect that a lot. Mm-hmm. But we created a whole bunch of confusion because. They're like, I'm gonna get the Godox 8600 BM, which is known as the Explorer 600 manual, by Adorama. So whenever people message me, they're like, I'm gonna get the Godox this one, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I have to kind of translate the names to the Adorama name to it, and I have it all in my head now.
Nice.
But back when I was still learning about these lights, I'm like, okay, that one's this one, this one, and it was just all that naming conventions. I had to match them in my head.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta pick me up something for on the field, man. Because for studio, like I'm pretty much set, and I'm really well invested into Pulse Buff at this point. Studio's taken care of both for as far as like going on location. If I shoot a wedding or something like that, I want to have something that I can just take like a mini boom pole and have like an assistant hold.
To be honest, you hype me up. I might buy some Godox. I already got some lights.
He got it.
Send us that affiliate code.
Seen the light.
You have affiliate code?
What was I going to say? Yeah, what you were saying before, I think you mentioned real quickly that the Godox was more expensive than the Einstein. Actually, in that blog post that I mentioned, the Explorer 600, I don't know, just type in FJH photo Explorer 600, but that blog post should pop up. And I actually do the math in there because the Vagabond, the thing that powers the Pulse Buff lights, for anybody who doesn't know, you need a power pack.
Oh, that's true.
That costs, I think, $250 or something.
That's true.
Yeah. So then there's that price, and then the Einstein itself is like $500. Let's just say $500.
So the Godox has a battery built into it.
Yeah, it's the back of the light. It's just built in there, no cords.
That's so tight.
And it actually has a built-in receiver. Yeah, receiver. Yeah, it has a built-in receiver. God dang it. Receiver. It has a built-in receiver. So the Posse Buff lights, they don't have that. You have to buy a receiver to attach the light, 100%. Even with the Digibee. Yeah, I think it has a little thing on top there, right?
I know. I own it all.
Yeah, you have
it's in that room.
I see his voice. Yeah.
The thing is that another reason why I like all the Godox lights is because literally all of them have built-in receiver or a built-in transceiver, a remote, and a receiver. So
these lights can talk to each other if you
super easy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I actually have I have like the remote that I use for the Godox lights. I can control literally all of my Godox lights. I think 7 or 8 different types of them with that one singular transmitter. They all have built-in receivers or built-in transmitter. The Godox speed lights, if I wanted to, if I have, let's say for example, I had 2 Godox speed lights, just that it, nothing else. If I forgot my transmitter or it broke on a photo shoot and I was just using one speed light, I can use that other speed light to control that speed light and fire it with high-speed sync and everything.
Oh, wow.
It can be used as a remote if you want to.
Yeah, man, my Posse Buff is kind of like all my equipment is basically like Bitcoin. I'm waiting for it to go back up and resell value.
Can your Digibee do that? Can you control another one?
Bro, I have the Cyber Commander. I used it once. Okay. I used it once, bro.
And how was your experience with that?
No comment, bro.
I used it twice, and I remember vividly thinking, "This is
too complicated."
No, thank you.
It looks like you need to learn how to code. To use it, bro. That's the vibe.
HTML coding, like
okay, all the different
DOS.
channels on the top.
I don't know if you ever played Yu-Gi-Oh when you were a kid, like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but there was this one card called Cyber Commander, and that card, if you look at it, if you Google it, that's exactly what this thing looks like.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Now we know the secrets.
Maybe that's where they got it from.
The secret of Posse Buff's naming conventions.
Maybe, but I don't know, man. I'm hoping like with stuff like this, like podcast episodes, people talking about it, they will start to innovate. They will start to do something because they have such a dope brand and they're killing it on social media. Their products are good. They just need to update, bro. Like it's like
you got to stay progressive. Because I remember my homie, because that's how I kind of got into photography. Because he was doing strobe photography for skateboarding. Mm-hmm. This is back in like 2009.
Yeah,
jeez. Yeah.
Or 2008.
So he's definitely using Posse Buff.
Yeah, I was like, damn, like these things are tight. I had no clue what strobe photography was, like, because I was like, whoa, I just know about natural lighting.
Yeah.
So he was killing it.
Yeah,
like,
Joey L using Posse Buff, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I want to get these lights.
That's the biggest reason why I got it. I saw that video and I was like, well, I'm not gonna shell out $2,000 for one light. I'm gonna get the Posse Buff, and I saw him use it. It was really good. But yeah, just go ahead and
Posse
update
Buff,
that real quick.
Update. It's all good.
I want to ask you, do you ever get creative funk? So that's what I call them. Where you basically fall into like a
he knew
you don't
instantly.
want to. Yeah, he's like, yeah,
I do.
Speaking of,
I mean,
how do you get out of them?
There's even that we just passed that seasonal depression area, like that winter time. That's what people always go into.
Yeah.
But I mean, I live in South Texas, so where it's all sunny all the time, so I can't get that excuse. But yeah, like I said before, I do want to kind of grow as a photographer and do different types of things, but I always have that fear of like not being good at it. But a lot of people are like, do that, share your errors, share your, all that trial and error, and people will feel with that, and they'll watch your journey and stuff. Yeah, I would love to do that, but then there's that guarantee of I'm gonna nail it eventually. Yeah. And there's always that worry that it's gonna take longer than I want it to.
Right.
But I like my work now. I took some photos today that I really loved, but it's the stuff that I'm familiar with, and I want to have that challenge and learn different things and create different styles that I don't know, like up to this point I'm like learning what's the new thing that can be invented. Right. Like with you guys with the bokeh panorama, I want to feel that again. I want to feel this new technique that I didn't know.
Right.
And when I learned that bokeh panorama, I was like, wow, the heck is this? Yeah. And I want to feel that again. I feel like I know a lot about photography, like not in the sense that I'm all knowing, but I know all these different techniques, and I want to learn something new that I didn't before completely. And I feel like I still am searching for that.
See, I'm fairly newer to photography because I just started doing strobe photography back in 2017. That's when I picked up 2016 or 2017. I picked up my first Einstein. But I just started using gels like in the last year.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like that's where I'm at right now. Like gels is like my hype right now.
And you do a lot of studio stuff, right?
Yeah. But then I get people who are hitting me up and like, dude, Gels have been around for years. I did that stuff 5 years ago.
I mean, people can do something but not do it differently or do it unique. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's people that are like, oh, high speed sync's been going on for 2 years. It's a trend now. But like, I see it do it. You know, people doing it wrong all the time.
Yeah,
it depends on how well you what's it called? My mind's how you execute it.
Right.
So I mean, there's a photographer. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but his name is Jake Hicks. He does amazing gel work. Amazing. It's
I gotta look him up.
JAKEHICKS.
Is he on YouTube?
Yeah. I think he's on YouTube, but he also has tutorials as well that if you want to buy from RGG EDU. I think they just renamed their whole system they call it Pro EDU now. But there's a tutorial.
I did watch him.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I just looked him up on YouTube and I did watch a couple of his videos.
He's amazing.
He's dope.
Yeah, and he does gels so well. And I think if anybody wants to learn some gel stuff, that's the guy. But I have a friend who sells gels for the Godox lights, flashgels.com. Exactly how it sounds, FLASHGELS.com. Yeah, he sells gels for the Godox system. So in case you want to light gels for those.
Now, there's a specific, like, I wouldn't say science, but there's something to gels, right? Like you have to, because I realized like I used to use those paper ones, like the ones that you buy at the Dollar Tree or whatever,
like cheapy ones.
Yeah, but then I found out that there's ones that you can buy that the way they reproduce color is a lot more accurate, and a lot more natural. I didn't know that. Like, I think it's called Lee filter.
The Lee filters,
yeah,
gels.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna act like I know everything about gels. It's still an area that I want to go over, and I just got some gels from my friend who sells those gels at flashgels.com.
There you go. Get that plug in, bro.
He sent me those gels, and that's one push that I want to that's one area that I want to push myself into.
Mm-hmm. You should, man, because you're already killing it with the off-camera flash. If you just start doing gels on location,
that's a little bit more.
Yeah,
that's dope.
One thing with those flash gels, how do they go onto the lights? Do you just tape them on, or do they have like a slot?
With the gels that he sells, there's a bulb that the Godox lights have that you can touch. They have like an outer bulb and an inner bulb. You never want to touch the inner bulb, but you can touch the outer one. But you basically just wrap the gel around it. He designed it pre-cut. He has like a laser cut printer that he uses for these gels so that it can fit around it really nicely. And then he has it comes with heat resistant bands that you can just put over the gold. Yeah, so it don't melt, and you can just fire it away.
Damn, that's tight.
Yeah. So definitely recommend those.
Do you ever print your own images?
No, I'm not gonna lie.
You don't print your own images?
But the times that I have printed them for
they look good.
Family member, they look really nice.
They look so nice.
I'm so happy with the prints, but I don't print for myself.
The only time I've ever printed my images is because I feel like that's like a lost art. People don't print enough. Yeah, because we shoot on a digital camera, we edit on a digital computer, and then we post on a digital platform. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like the only time I really ever print is when I do like a wedding and I have to buy like a photo album or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And the images look amazing, but then again, it's only like an 11 by 14 inch book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you shoot on an A7S II, it'll look great. You know?
Yeah.
So I have wanted to like kind of do like a huge large print because I love when I bring an image into Lightroom and you zoom into the eye and it's just perfectly sharp. Like right in the eyelid, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I have wanted to see what that looks like.
You can like put it to your face and you're like, oh wow,
sharp life size, sharp eye. Put those megapixels to the test finally.
Yeah.
If you weren't doing photography, what would you say you would be doing right now?
That's very interesting. So, wow. The whole reason why I started photography is because I've never had a creative bone in my body ever. Like I suck at drawing. I do good. Like squiggle drawing.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. And I've never good at painting or just thinking of things uniquely. But when it came to photography, it was just something that I felt like I could do and I do it well. And that creative eye was just something that I was just trying to find over and over again. But if I couldn't do photography, like if somebody said you just can't do it anymore, then
it's illegal, and it's illegal all over the world.
I think I would probably be. There was a time where I wanted to be a lawyer because I thought, okay, I'm good at arguing, right? No,
yo, that's exactly what my mom used to tell me.
But no, I think I had that. I would watch a lot of Law and Order SVU, but that was that phase passed. But I still like the show. But I think I would probably be a psychologist or therapist of some sort because I love the human mind. Yeah, and I love like seeing why people react a certain way and what makes people not necessarily what makes them tick. Like I'm actually bugging people, like, you know, intentionally. But I like to see how people react to different things. And one thing that I've learned through photography and just like dissecting social media and how it's evolving over the years, I've seen, you know, what trends happen. Like, for example, I could bring one example that I can bring is that if I were to post a link to something, like let's say I make a YouTube channel and I post a link to it, I know that because of the link, because of the small thumbnail, because of the description on the side, a lot of people are going to kind of just bypass it as an ad in their head subconsciously and not want to click it or engage in it. But if I post a picture from the photo shoot where it's showing, you know, what I did with that light, and then post a link in that description, it'll get a lot more clicks than if I were to just post that link by itself.
So it's almost like you're studying the psychology and it's like marketing, right?
Yeah, it's,
of what works.
Yeah, exactly. And over the time of me being an influencer over the past couple of years, unintentionally, I just wanted to help people. Right. But I've seen what works and what don't works and why, and I've learned that, you know, the different ways that people react, and specifically with social media. Because my main social media is Facebook. And a lot of younger people say that's old people Facebook, you know, for old people.
Facebook's the best.
Right. But I use Facebook, and it's the whole reason why I have any sort of following at all. But there are young people that use Snapchat all the time. I don't, you know, at all really. But I just like learned over time, over the years, that, you know, different people do different things in regards to social media for specific reasons, and I've always been interested in that and kind of cracking that code of what's the best way to get my stuff to people and them enjoy it without feeling like an ad, in other words. Right. So I think if I didn't do photography, then I would definitely be interested in the human mind and kind of figuring out, you know, different things. And I don't know. I wouldn't say be a therapist. It would be make mad money.
That's a good answer though, because I mean you kind of broke it down to what makes you, I would say, successful in photography is you're trying to understand and learn how people want to look at content, or like how advertising your own content works, and that's all psychology, man.
True.
I think that's a really big part. I think marketing and advertising is a big part of being successful in your photography business. I feel like that's one of the things that a lot of creatives lack. You know what I mean?
It's just a business thing you have to have.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. There was a time when I would like a lot of people ask me when, you know, with portrait photography, how do you go over that anxiety, and, you know, what are different things to kind of make the subject feel comfortable? And I definitely think it has to do with having a good understanding of the human mind and how people react. In the very beginning, I was myself that very shy person wanting to do portrait photography. Well, I wanted to get better at it, so I suffered through those anxieties of maybe I'm not going to give them a good photo this time, this photo shoot, or different things that a lot of people feel, especially when they start, you know, portrait photography fresh, especially with off-camera flash, with not just strictly natural light, which is, you know, that added difficulty of off-camera flash isn't even there. Mm-hmm. It's still that anxiety of, you know, you're going to fail, and how are these people going to fail? Are they going to feel like I've wasted their time? Are they going to get mad at me? Different things like that. Over time, I've gotten to kind of brush away these anxieties and feel more confident in my work and feel confident more as just a creative. Right. And I think it's from just that willing to put these fears aside for the second and try to just grow as a person and try to also make this person feel comfortable. Even if I wasted their time completely, at least they had a good time, in other words. Right. And you know, there are some times where that's happened before, for reasons beyond my control, that, you know, the weather just started to rain out of nowhere and we just barely got there or something. But there's always that part of me that wants them to have that enjoyable experience with their portraits, as much as they can, and also get really great portraits. Right. So I think it all has to do with like learning like how people react and act, and how I can make that experience as enjoyable as it can be.
That's some sound advice, man. Tight. Yeah. I feel like your intentions are good. Yeah. And you know, but I was gonna ask, what do you think are some steps that people can take to start improving their own work? Or let's say somebody feels like they're starting to doubt themselves. What are some steps that people can take to kind of make themselves feel better or even improve their work?
That's a very good question. A lot of people, I haven't been getting that a lot lately. That they feel like, you know, I want to bring up one specific post that I made at the end of this past year, at 2018. I made a post showing left and right, like how I took a photo in 2011, and then a photo from a recent photo shoot that I did was 2018 in December 16, I think. I showed them side by side, and even that left photo that I thought was bad at the time, well, basically the post that I made was saying, you know, it took me years and years to get to the point that I was at right now because I was so passionate and wanting to learn as much as I could. And there was a lot of times where people were just very secretive, and it was so there was so much struggle, to the point where I wanted to just learn as much as I could. And I did all that trial and error, and I got into the point where I was comfortable in work, and I just stuck with it. I think if somebody really wants to learn, they definitely have to have that passion, because if you don't enjoy portrait photography, you're just doing it strictly for the money, and you're not good at it right away, you're going to want to just quit, and then you're just going to waste your time.
You'll never have the passion to want to question yourself on what you can fix.
You can't grow that passion.
Right.
It has to be there. What I would definitely give people to advice, if they have that passion to begin with, is find a style that you like, you know, whether it be natural light or off-camera flash, whatever. Try to break it down as much as you can, because there are going to be some characteristics of those portraits that you are really, really just kind of connect with. For example, I love shallow depth of field. So then it means wide, prime lenses with wide apertures.
Right.
Basically, if you break it down, if you find a style that you like just try to find a couple of sources, or maybe just one source of style that you want to create yourself. Then that'll kind of break it down to what gear you need to acquire, what skills, like if it requires off-camera flash skills, and then you can also find out the gear that person used, so you can also buy that gear, or maybe just buy a cheaper version of that gear, because for photos is expensive.
Yeah.
But you can just kind of break it down and analyze it to science, kind of really. And if you figure out that person has a lot of editing, then maybe you want to get a little bit better at editing. And you can just basically break it down to that point where nowadays, where people share a lot because of how popular it is to share stuff now, you can kind of just understand what's going to work for you and what gear you need, and focus on that. If you have somebody to kind of to learn from, basically a mentor, a digital mentor, right? Maybe they're unintentionally, mentoring you with either sharing their posts. Yeah, but
I would say you mentor a lot of people.
Yeah, I definitely try my best to. I mean, there's people that say, "Can you mentor me?" I'm like, my posts are pretty much set like that. But I think if somebody wants to learn something nowadays, it's just a lot easier than it was in 2011 when I started.
Right. And I'm gonna go ahead and add on to that, because it's something that we always mention on this podcast. Literally, we always mention is don't critique yourself too harshly, because photography is subjective. Yeah. And your standards might be different than what other people perceive to be good. If you're not good by your standards, I would say go to somebody who you do respect and you do know and you think is better than you, and start asking them questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I developed a thick skin. It was not thick to begin with, but I definitely did learn to have a thick skin through posting on online groups, and not just taking everybody's critique, but seeing who actually had the good intention in mind to give me that bad critique and tell me where I can improve. Yeah. Not just your photo sucks, and then oh man, okay.
More of just like, hey, maybe you should put him in this position, or put the light in that position, so that shadow.
And I'm always kind of hesitant to give advice myself, because I always think it's that subjective opinion. Yeah, it's what I think you should improve on, not what you might do differently so that you like the photo better. And I always try to be very transparent about that. Tell them, like, I love soft light, so maybe I would add that light closer, do this differently. I would move that pose to this for different reasons. I'll break down the critique as much as I can, but I'll also give them, like, basically what I learned a long time ago, a compliment sandwich. Yeah, like positive, negative, then positive. Yep. So that they can at least come out with it, as a positive experience, but I'm also learning.
I've never heard of the compliment sandwich.
Yeah,
because the thing is, like, a lot of people need to understand in life, like, you need to question things, and you question things, and you need to try things. Because the thing is, like, okay, maybe that's not your style, but try it.
Yeah,
because maybe you can learn something from that little bit of, like, that
learn critique. What you didn't like.
Yeah, and then be like, oh wait, I can actually do it like this now, and see now you found something else. Yeah. So people always question. Stay questioning life till the day you die.
Yeah, and don't just learn stuff just like sitting at your couch. Yeah, I did that for a long time.
Go out there and do it.
Yeah, go out there and try it, because
do it.
That practice is just
for the first year, I would say this is the biggest mistake I ever did. Oh, I wouldn't say mistake, but one of the things I wish I could redo in my career is for the first year of me even having my own equipment, bro, I just watched people do it. Like I was watching like Jessica Kobasi, watching Manny Ortiz. I was watching all these people do it, and I was like, oh shit. When am I gonna start? You know what I mean? And a lot of it was intimidation because like there's a lot that goes into learning photography, not even just a technicality, but like how do you find models? Where do you go shoot? Where's the location? How do you find the location? What equipment do you take with you? What kind of imagery are you gonna create?
It's a huge oil machine.
It's so much, and
crazy.
You need to start with the basic fundamental questions of like, what am I trying to create?
So it's funny that you mentioned that because I need to bring this series back. But I had a series which I think only did like 3 episodes on it so far. But I started one called Behind the Shot. Yeah, Behind the Shot, where I would basically explain how that photo shoot was created from start to finish, and because I wanted to kind of just explain to people this is how that shot came to be. In other words, and it's funny because one model that I know now and I worked with frequently and created one of my favorite photos of 2017 with, I got to know her from another photographer back in, I want to say 2013. So in 2013, there was I was trying to, as much as I can, to reach out to other photographers in my area. Yeah. One photographer was like, okay, I'm going to do a shoot in my studio. And it was like a 50 minutes away and maybe an hour away in his studio. And it was also raining bad that day. But I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go. Yeah. Because I want to learn. I had that passion. I wanted to learn.
And you could have easily set those roadblocks for yourself. It's raining.
Oh, it's raining.
It's raining.
It's too dangerous.
Too yeah. And it was also in the nighttime. I think we went like at like something like 7 or 8. And then we left like at 10 or 10:30. But through that singular experience, I got to know that model. Her name's Barbie. But I got to know Barbie, and at that time she was like 16 maybe. But I met her through that, and through that experience, and she I think the next year or so she moved away. But years later she came back and moved to my area, and in 2017 she hit me up and she was like, "Hey, I know we it's been a while, but I moved back into the area, the valley." And would you want to shoot together? Because I guess I had a stronger portfolio back at that time. And I was like, yeah, definitely. You have a great look. And I remember like you being so easy to work with back then. And then so we had that shoot, and I created some of my favorite images that year. I have one amazing photo that I love from that photo shoot. And that photo has been like one that even Sony used a lot, and one that I really like. And it was just simply from reaching out to photographers in my area and saying, you know what, this guy said, it's like, hey, I'm actually doing this photo shoot in my studio at nighttime with this model. And I was like, I could have said no, it's late. Oh, it's raining. Oh, all these different things. But I met her through that experience, and then I ended up having an awesome photo shoot literally years later. So I mentioned that in that video. I mentioned the fact that I was like, okay, what kind of outfits do you want to kind of to use, or what? She even asked me like, what outfits do you look for? And that's another thing that I describe in the video too, because when it comes to just working with models in general, you want to be as professional as possible. And one thing that can kind of get, if they don't know you at all, one thing that can get weird easily is like, oh, send me pictures of you in your outfit. I always tell the model, feel free to send me pictures of the outfit just laid out across on the bed or hung up. That's all I need, because then I can just do the math in my head, figure out the colors and what will work in the area that we're going to shoot in. So yeah, I do have
that's some solid advice.
Yeah, I have I want to say 3 episodes from that series that I want to bring, I want to start to bring back, because I tried my best to describe how I got to know that model, the outfit, and the way that we communicated, which was Facebook or Instagram sometimes, the way that I decided the location. She actually decided that location because she drove past it. She lived in there nearby it. And then how I did, got to the understanding of, okay, I want the light here, and how I decided, okay, I want this backdrop and different things. I try to explain as much as I can about how this one singular shot was created. Right. Because it's not as simple as, we just
showed up and everything was that way.
We shot together and it was really nice. So I just got my light and took a picture.
Right. Yeah. Because then who learns from that? Really?
Nobody. So I feel motivated to make more of this.
You should, man.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of stuff that people do learn from a lot, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to start like YouTube channels, because I feel like if I did it, I wanted it to be super
professional looking.
Not even professional looking, but like I wanted to be able to explain the technicality of what I did, because sometimes we end up with dope shots and it's an accident. But sometimes, and I want to feel confident enough to explain exactly how I got that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a lot of it is trying to get your thoughts across.
Yeah.
And I to this day I still struggle with that. That's why there's some videos that I want to make to this, right now.
Yeah.
That I think will be really helpful. But the best way that I can be really helpful is to get my thoughts out more clearly, and that's where I struggle with. So I kind of want to make these videos about high speed sync, about why I use certain lenses, and I want to make these videos, but I want them to be helpful as much as I can. So I need to get these thoughts across as clear as I can.
Yes. Do you make like a Google spreadsheet with like all the questions or all the questions that you've been asked, or even like topics you want to make videos about?
That's the thing that I need to work on. my simple answer is no.
No, okay, cool.
But I always have, and I need to tell my girlfriend to help me with that, because like she's so like the opposite of me. I'm like, yeah, I'll remember it because it's a good idea.
Yeah, no,
and then I'm like,
yeah,
what's that idea?
Yeah.
So sometimes I have screenshots from people asking me questions. Yeah. And I screenshot it, and then I'm like, so I have it in my screenshots. That's the only way that I have any way of remembering.
See, I go in there and I mass delete screenshots though, because I don't want my photo library to get cluttered. Yeah, so, I forget.
I got 256 gigabytes. I didn't want to have to worry about storage.
Damn, look at that. Do you have any like bad? I would say bad, but do you have any like interesting stories about experiences you've had with photography? Maybe have taught you something or left you with like a damn, I wish I could have done that better.
There has been times where stuff out of my control happened. I will say, and I don't think I've mentioned it before, but there's been 3 different times where models have passed out during my photo shoots.
Whoa!
Damn.
And one is not my fault completely, because this model had like a heart problem.
Yeah.
And she I didn't know beforehand, but she was like, I thought it was hot or something, but she was like, I'm gonna pass out.
And she just knocked out.
And then we're like, what? And then only the photographer that was with us, that was close by her, heard her and caught her.
Oh dang, okay.
Yeah, but me and my friend, I actually have a recording of it, because I'm never gonna air this. But I have a recording because I was gonna make a video from it. But then you can see that she's like, I'm gonna pass out, and then me and my friend are like kind of away, and we're not even paying attention. We're like this, looking at the lighting or something, and then my other friend who's close to her catches her, and we're like, what the heck? What happened?
Wait, so what was it? Was she died? Was she dehydrated?
It wasn't it was literally just a heart issue. She had heart palpitations or something. But that was that case. But these other 2 cases were completely something that could have been, easily not happen, right? One of them just didn't eat the whole day.
Oh damn!
And it was already like 6 p.m. or something like that. So definitely make sure, if you're gonna shoot a model, make sure that they eat. Yeah. And I want to reiterate that, because that other time where the model passed out, she said she ate. And then when I asked her what she ate, she was like, half a taco and a little bit of Coke. I'm like, that's not eating.
That's a well-balanced nutritional meal right there.
What is that?
You should have a taco and a little bit of Coca-Cola, right?
I should have asked more like, what exactly did you eat?
Yeah, Coca-Cola.
Did you eat a lot?
Because you said Coke. I was like, well, Coca-Cola. Right?
Coca-Cola.
I mean, she's a model.
So definitely make sure that your models are well fed.
Yeah.
But they always have that thing where they might lie because they don't want to look bloated during the photo shoot.
Yeah.
But
still eat something, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, cause here's the thing. Like, whenever I do like shoot days and I'm shooting all day from like 11 a.m. to like 6 p.m., I don't eat, and that's something that I do need to fix, because I do get very hungry. But I feel bad as the photographer, where I'm like, if I have somebody that I'm shooting with and the model, and I know she's hungry, so it's like I always offer like, can I get you something? Can we go get something to eat?
So I want to kind of pick on that a second, because I used to be that type of shy photographer who would always be the same way as well. Like always feel bad or have these insecurities about if I do something, will it upset somebody else? Yeah. But over time, I try to make it into kind of a relatable, funny kind of thing, where if I'm like, you know what, we're taking a lot of pictures today. We got a lot of great shots, but I'm starving, and I work best when I'm fed, and you might be starving too. Do you want me to get you some food? You just try your best to be as approachable and communicate your thoughts as well, because you don't want to, in other words, make the photo shoot hindered because you feel tired, because they're hangry is a word for a reason.
Oh yeah.
So you don't want to kind of
your mood changes when you're hungry.
Even just your train of thought.
Yeah.
You just kind of, you can explain it as like, I work best when I'm fed. So if we could take about 30 minutes to get something quick to eat, Taco Bell's cheap. Yeah. So go ahead, get something. Yeah. If you want me to get you a water or a taco, I can get you that. Just try to make it as approachable and relatable.
A full taco.
And that's the best thing that I could give somebody advice to, because if you were to be like this, we're like, I'm a little hungry. Yeah. Do you mind if I get like a Snicker or something? Like if you the way that you talk,
you gotta show a little.
It's gonna show it, and it's gonna make them like, man, this guy's just like complaining a lot or something. But
oh damn, okay.
But I try to be as
it's that tonality can completely change everything.
I used to be very shy, and I'm definitely not now. But so I kind of like always pick on my past self.
So that's definitely a pro tip. I feel like, even like, if you're gonna go out shoot, even if you're in the desert or on location, wherever it is, like take a bag with you and put some snacks in it.
Put snacks for sure.
Like some bars, granola bars, man.
If you've done like PA jobs or anything, they have to have snacks around.
Water bottles.
You gotta get that message across that like, I'm human too. I need to eat a little bit. I forgot to get breakfast. Do you mind if I get a little snack?
Yeah. We have some Instagram questions for you.
Yeah,
some
go
users submitted some questions.
Yeah.
Let me see real quick. This person's name's a little hard to pronounce. Ubaldo Benavides asks, what is next for you in your photo career?
Wow. Well, hard with that first question.
Philosophical with it.
I definitely want to do more studio stuff. That's the thing that I do want to do a lot more, specifically because it's about to get hot in Texas, and I don't want to work in all that heat. I'm originally from Michigan, so that heat's I never got used to the heat. And never to this day.
Wait, how hot does it get out there? Because over here,
it's the
like
humidity, right?
It could be as hot as 110, with the heat index making it 115.
Yeah,
so.
No, might as well.
Yeah, so so I definitely want to work more indoors, because at this moment, and I know for a fact that this isn't like a good opinion, but I feel like indoor studio photography is just super limiting in what you can create. Like, to break it down, the most negative way is that like, it's just a backdrop and the way that you can approach the lighting and poses, and that's it. But I don't want that to be a hindrance. I want it to break through these different kind of like those excuses. Like right now, I'm giving an excuse that it's just a backdrop, it's just different lighting and different poses, and that's it. Mm-hmm. I want to work with more and challenge myself to, I guess in other words, inspire other people to be like, you know what? I first thought the exact same thing, but after seeing him do this and this and this, now I really want to try studio work.
Well, that's one of the main reasons that do you know who Elaine Torres is on Instagram?
I do.
On YouTube? Yeah. Dude, she is the one that put me onto like studio.
Yeah.
She's one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to do, because like just seeing what she does, because a lot of it's like coordination with makeup, wardrobe, not even just the lighting, but using also props like gel, like using like paper and ripping paper up and doing some different to the background.
Make it worth.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So that kind of was what opened my eyes to be like, so it's not just somebody sitting with their hand
with the white background.
You know what I mean?
The white background.
Or the white background.
Or on a tree trunk.
On a tree trunk.
Like elementary school photos.
Talking about school pictures.
High school senior shots.
Bro, have you seen how expensive some of these backdrops can get?
Yeah,
like
gravity backdrops.
Yeah, gravity.
Yeah, Oliphant and Gravity are the ones I can name on the top of my head that have like really nice backdrops.
Yeah,
I could get a sponge and do it myself. No,
some people do it. Some people do.
Yeah, Elaine did this one shoot, man. When she went back to Puerto Rico, she took a backdrop and she crumpled it up, like literally just crumpled up the backdrop, unfolded it, and then painted it, and then also like painted the light stands that she was using a different color, and with the coordination of the outfit that the model had on and the backdrop and the light stands. It looks so dope. I'll show it to you after, man. It looks.
I'm about to binge watch Elaine.
Yeah, dude, she's dope. Yeah, she's definitely. I want to see if we can get her on here at some point. You never know. We also have Michael Hancock wants to know, what advice would you give to someone who is frustrated with their? We kind of touched on this. What advice would you give to someone who is frustrated with their own work?
I would try to do your best to analyze what is upsetting you, so that you can focus on that issue and solve it. Like for me, example. I remember one thing that I was struggling with was making the flash as natural as possible, or just like not really because a lot of people who shoot natural light, they're like, oh, I don't like alpha camera flash because it looks too artificial. It's too artificial.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I was like, yeah, I have that opinion as well. And then I learned over time that if you add ambient, if you bring that light close for softness, there's a technique of positioning the light called feathering the light, which means lighting it indirectly. It'll help you get that more natural, soft looking light.
Right.
So yeah, definitely, and try to figure as much as possible, not even just like all these different issues, but just focus on one, take it step by step and figure out what you don't like, so you can just fix that one by one, and that'll be the best advice I can give.
There you go.
That's good.
And Eric Mendez wants to know, what's your biggest inspiration when you plan a photo shoot?
When I plan a photo shoot. So I guess what
inspires that photo shoot?
I would assume his question is kind of like, what do you think of when you are going to plan an outdoor photo shoot? Like, what are some things that come to your mind that you know you have to like prepare for? Okay,
so one thing that I've been trying to break away from when it comes to my photo shoots is these repeating patterns these different things that I do as like safe zones of, I know that I'm gonna get an image that I like. But one thing that I definitely aim for, that I don't mind like not breaking, is matching color tones with with the scene. So there's a model that I work with before where I told her, okay, can you send me the outfit and so I can know these colors, and when I look up the area, I kind of match kind of my vision with the way that sun's falling. That's definitely something that I always look forward to. Just kind of matching the tones.
Yeah.
So
you do a lot of shoots like during sunset, right? Like golden hour.
Yeah, golden hour is my favorite time to shoot.
Is that there's a specific reason why you do that, right?
Yeah, the two reasons I always tell everybody is because it's less the weather is less hot for one.
Yeah,
that's gonna be easy on me, easy on the model. Two, because the light positioning is perfect,
really
because
nice,
it provides like a nice rim light.
You're not getting like raccooning.
Exactly. If it was a noon, it'd be like going up here, and you can work around that. But
then you would need that Einstein high power output.
Yeah, and then the third reason would be because it's you get that flexibility of like the sunset providing different colors depending on the how the sun is feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have that flexibility of being able to shoot an hour before sunset. You have those daytime shots that you can create a lot more sun, and then the nighttime is you have that flexibility of like sunset shots, or even like if they want to stay a little bit later, you can get nighttime shots.
Have you ever planned like a photo shoot and then like either the model's running late or you're running late because of traffic and you miss it?
Oh my God.
You miss it. Like that's my biggest concern. I feel like if I ever did like a sunset photo shoot, I need to get there like an hour before. You know what I mean?
So just a quick, because I'm asking this from a amateur. If you want to do shots at night with strobe, what are you recreating? Like, are you recreating like street lights or the moonlight, or are you just kind of taking the photo?
That's a very good question. That's a very, very good question. So one thing that I can say is depending on the photographer, like for example, if I had to bring it into like sort of a relatable kind of question like that, when you actually watch a movie during the nighttime, if you actually analyze the light at night, you'll see that none of the light matches.
Yeah, it's
ever.
A bit exaggerated too.
And sometimes it's just completely not even like realistic at all.
Yeah, because like the moonlight in the forest, you're like, the moon don't do that.
Yeah, it don't light up that whole forest like that bright.
Yeah.
But I actually have some photo shoots from my YouTube channel of those night. I have videos of those night photo shoots on my channel, but I to be honest, I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
I honestly shot with lights in the area because I wanted them to kind of accent the model or be in the background.
Right.
But there has been times where people are like, okay, did you light this a certain way and kept those lights in the back orange because of this and this and this? And I'm like, what I'm seeing, like as I'm seeing it, I want it to stay true to that. Okay. So one specific shot that I took in the nighttime a while back in 2017, the orange lights behind her, I was like, oh, I like those. So I wanted to get those orange lights. Somebody was like, well, why didn't you change the color temperature so that it matches the flash? Because the flash is around 5,600 color temperature, and the tungsten lights in the back are around, what, 3,000?
Yeah. 3,200?
Something like that. Yeah, so they're not matching. But it was what I saw. Right. So I wanted it to match what I was realistically seeing. So based off your question, I honestly never thought about matching my lighting to a specific kind of scene. But I think up to this point, nobody has ever even asked me that question.
Well,
to
be honest, I never thought about that too.
Yeah, it's kind of weird one because it's just coming from because now that I think about it,
especially if you're talking about sunset photo shoots, you're literally seeing the sunset, so there is no natural light that's gonna. There wouldn't be.
Oh, that would illuminate you.
There wouldn't. Yeah, because the sun's literally behind the subject. True. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would say the reason the way you would light it is to kind of just accentuate the features of the face. You want to expose for that person, but still get that nice background.
So one thing that a lot of people told me before, and every now and then I still get it, but not as much, is that they're like, because I love to use that sunlight as a rim light behind them.
Yeah.
And some people were like, well, wouldn't you want them to face the sunlight and use the artificial light in front to kind of make it match that sunlight? And I'm like, no, why would I want to? That's boring. Yeah. Like, I'm using this artificial lighting so that I can create a look that I otherwise wouldn't be able to create.
Right.
If you were shooting natural light, I might as well just shoot natural light.
Yeah, just take away the strobe.
Just take away the strobe.
Yeah.
So I basically sandwich the subject in light. The sunlight is providing that rim light and nothing in front, so it's just shadow.
Yeah.
And I'm filling in that shadow with my flash, and I'm be able to create like a pop.
Plus
like,
that color, the subject really pops. I think the photos are really good.
That's been my style for a couple of years now, and I've developed that style because of those different reasons. I like shadowed up the field, that rim light for providing that free secondary light, and then that flash to fill in, and I just love that. And a lot of people associate that look with my work. It's not the best way to associate it. I don't want to take credit, in other words, for other people's work that they might have completely had that same thought process.
Yeah.
But I do want to, I guess, pat myself on the back for at least popularizing that look, because I seriously had that struggle with the different sciences and my transmitters and the strobes of trying to nail how to do that.
Right.
So I'll take the credit for that.
And now Godox made it super simple. Just boom.
Yep. Now they do.
Shout out Godox.
We have one last question that actually just came in. Renak_photography wants to know. Oh, you know what that is? Okay. What were the challenges you had with your career compared to doctors and others? I'm assuming in any other career field.
So I think the best way to answer that question is that with doctors and other, I want to say like more like college oriented classes, is that there's some sort of structure to that. Like if I need to learn these different body parts, I can learn these different body parts and just like learn it and get it nailed in my head, like the back of my mind. With photography, it's creative. There's always going to be that person that if you might like this style, but other person, because photography and in general is subjective, they're not going to vibe with that style, and then they're gonna be, oh, you should have done this way or this and that. And there's actually no right or wrong answer.
Right.
So
it's not like you're gonna look at a doctor and be like, oh no, man, you should have fixed this.
You should have cut that part this way.
Should have done that way. There's a specific way to do it.
You dissected that body part. The way you did it, I gave it a B+.
I would have cut a little bit lower, man.
So I mean, there's a certain right and wrong with these other paths.
Right.
With photography, it's completely subjective. I might love something, and there might be a whole millions of people who love this look, but there's also millions of people who don't.
Right.
They like this other sort of look. So the nutshell answer to that would be that it's always going to be subjective, and it's always going to be dependent on what you like with photography. And these other careers, there's a right answer, there's a wrong answer, or there's the best answer out of these other answers.
Yep.
And and then you have a course for a reason for those classes, for that career. And with photography, you might have to learn lighting types, but you're always going to film something a certain way because of how you wanted it to. You want to score a video with music this certain way because that's how you want it to. And it's always going to be subjective.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Good answer. There you go. And actually, one of my personal last questions was going to be, because you mentioned you were doing most of your shoots on location. Do you ever have to worry about like permits or anything like that, or do you just show up?
It's good that you mentioned that, because that's one of the questions I get often.
Yeah. And
it's not a good answer that would help people, but in my specific city, which is Mission, Texas, if they're super, super lax with photography. They're like, they don't care. Like I've shot in front of a Ben & Jerry's before, and they're like, whatever. And other places where in LA, they're like, hey, you my picture or my store was in your background of your photo. You need to delete that photo. Like, it's just weird that how strict there will be, the rules will be in one area, like LA, for example.
Yeah.
I have friends who live in LA and they're like, man, I wish I could just go to the park and shoot. I'm like, why can't you? And they're like, because they always ask for permits because they want that money.
Yeah.
And then where I live in South Texas, it's super, super lax.
Yeah.
And even as far as San Antonio, like there's this place called the historic Pearl in San Antonio. If you know that area, you go ahead and shoot there as much as you can, because I don't know if they're going to start charging soon. But it's super big and beautiful, and it's also free. And I always do my best to make sure that wherever I shoot, I'm not going to have any issues. I've shot in New York before, and before I shot in New York, I always like, okay, I know that some people have told me you can't use stands because of like some laws or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
I make sure that my girlfriend Ashley is helping me, or somebody else can help me, so that I don't have a stand on the ground and break the law.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like somebody has to carry around the light or be around
because
it, maybe.
If you have a boom bowl.
like you can't like block a sidewalk or
Yeah,
anything
makes
like
sense.
that.
Okay, gotcha.
There's different rules.
Because then it becomes a hazard, right?
'Cause
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I did hear in LA too, like how bad it is. Like even if you rent out a studio, you still have to get a permit for that studio.
That's
What?
ridiculous.
Yeah, YC Imaging went through that. Like
I know him.
yeah. He I guess he went to a warehouse. They thought they were good, and then like the fire marshal came and said like, "You guys know you need a permit to shoot in this photo
Man,
studio." And
it's
he
not
was
like
like, "Wait,
that.
what?" He's
Yeah.
like, it's a photo studio.
Yeah.
So in other words, I'm very happy that I live in a
Yeah,
town
same here.
where it's not so strict with photography.
Have you ever shot here in Vegas, like at Red Rock?
No. Literally the off the strip. I've been here so many times because
Yeah.
my mom loves Vegas, but I've only shot outside of the strip just today.
Okay,
Today,
nice.
just barely today of all
Really?
like the 20 plus times I've been here.
Yeah.
But
Well-
I think it was one time last year, or no, 2 years ago, that I wanted to do a photo shoot on the strip and next to the buildings. And they're like, no, you can't. You can do it on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
You can't do it next to the buildings.
Yeah, no, they.
So
said no,
yeah,
no.
but
Super
they're
strict.
like I and also did a video with my friends Robert Hall and Darrell Hoshing last year. It's called 60-second portraits, where we just like try to find a stranger and take portraits of them within 60 seconds.
Nice.
So it was oh my god, it was like I'm getting like nervous doing it. But, like it was so nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Well, you said you were a shy person too.
Well, I mean, I as much as I think I'm outgoing right now, when it comes to complete strangers who don't know who I am,
Yeah.
I mean, and taking their portrait
Yeah.
in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, oh my god! So
Yeah.
you have to pose them and everything, and they have to be willing, and they have to want to do it right away. But yeah, we experienced like getting in trouble. They're like, hey, you can't shoot here.
Mhm.
But we found workarounds.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if you decide to go to Red Rock, just know you have to have a permit.
Okay. Red Rock.
Unless the government shut down.
Oh yeah.
time it
Just
just
wait.
right.
Bro, when the government was shut down, it was open season out there, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody was out there with their gear. Shooting.
Alright, so just hope for a couple days.
Government shut down.
Government shut down. No, just kidding.
No, but have you ever shot you've never shot like Mount Charleston, right?
Nope.
I think you can shoot out there because I've done it. I haven't taken off camera flash, but I know like I've taken my
You
camera.
probably need a permit, but they either think
A
they
lot
don't
of
care.
a lot of intimidation comes from like police or like park rangers or police whenever
Yeah.
they see the flash.
Yeah.
If it's natural light, they'll be like, eh. If it's
a guy with a
if it's a
camera.
point and shoot,
Yeah,
But
it's kind of like you can
DSLR.
take your iPhone into a concert and shoot
Yes.
it in
Yeah.
4K, but if you take a DSLR, you're in
that
trouble.
does that does only 1080.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. 100% though. If you go to Mount Charleston, you know what? One of the things I've felt about Vegas is that because there's a lot of natural light shooters out here, is because there's a lot of
There's a lot of
nighttime
sun.
lights
Yeah,
here.
yes.
There's a lot of sun, first of all, yeah, but there's a lot of nightlife where there's enough natural light
Yeah.
on the strip to shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In New York, in Times Square, it's so beautiful, and
Yeah,
a lot
it
of
looks
people
so bright.
A lot of people tell me it's because you don't live there. But I was like, no, I've been there like 10 times already, and every single time I go through it, I'm like, it's just so. Oh, I love color,
Yeah.
and then it's just like natural soft boxes,
Yeah.
just lighting people
Yeah.
up, and I just love it. And yeah, you don't even need a light; like you just take pictures of people, and it looks really good.
So moral of the story is it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
Yep. 100%.
Cool, man. Well, we appreciate you joining
Yeah.
us on this
Thank you so
podcast,
much,
bro.
man.
Yeah, no
it was
problem.
really dope meeting you. Do you want to kind of like let people know where they can find you and all that good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. It was really a good, awesome time talking about photography. Can talk till I lose my voice.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if you guys want to find me and want to learn from any sort of thing I put out, like on YouTube or on Instagram, I can be found through everywhere through just the FJH photo. That's FJH photo. Instagram.com, FJH photo. Facebook.com/FJH photo, YouTube.com/FJH photo. And if you want to go to my website, which I need to update really, really badly and start to make blog posts on, that's FJHphoto.com.
Hey, I gotta say, I love that consistency, man.
Yeah.
You're lucky that you were able to get it all across every single platform.
Because it sucks when you have to put like 716 on one.
Because bro, we had to do that for our podcast, man. I don't know how, but like Instagram was at morning dinner, perfect, right?
Yeah.
But then we go to Facebook and it was taken. I was like, what?
That's what I was saying.
Who has that?
Who has morning? And yeah, I don't know who has it, but we had to do like the morning dinner or something like that.
It's like an oxymoron.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. Yeah.
Like breakfast
breakfast, lunch, or something.
I think that's kind of how we came up with the name. We like because we're two dudes. We don't cook, man. Sometimes we would have eggs for dinner, bro.
Yeah.
You know, morning dinner. Get that morning dinner in you.
I think my website name is worth $250 now at the moment. But when I got it, it was like the amount that I paid was like $9 a year.
Nice.
Or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely link you up. We'll put all your information down below in the description. People can check you out. Check out his YouTube. He's killing it. You're gonna drop more content.
Yes.
Did you shoot any content while you were out here, video wise?
No.
Oh, okay.
I am gonna do my best to do a vlog.
Okay.
There you go. That works.
That's it.
There you go, man. But yeah, check him out, and we'll catch you guys on the next morning dinner.
Later.
Goodbye.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen. In the goddamn refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.